to take as many pictures and videos as you can afford because there are no photo restrictions on this tour. You might want to get those cameras out right about now, take out the lens caps, and point them up high to the right. You'll see the symbol of our Disney MGM Studios, our award-winning Eiffel Tower. That masterpiece stands 13 stories tall and is capped off by a set of mousers weighing in at 16 tons. Well, that's a hat size of a 342 3/8, of course. Close to the ground, off to the right in front of our prop warehouse is the motor pool, and those first two cars driven by Harrison Ford in Blade Runner. The red cavity car from the TV show Art Castle and McCormick. And up around the bend, you're going to see a whole lineup of colorful vintage automobiles, beginning with the red one, all used in the blockbuster film Dick Tracy, starring, produced, and directed by Warren Beatty. After you come around the corner, look off to your left, and you're going to see our production bungalows. That's really office space used by production companies using our facilities. Right now, bungalow number 1, the home of Blue Wave Productions. They're producing the Mickey Mouse Club back with their 5th season this year on the Disney Channel. Bungalow number 2 is Ed McMahon's Star Search 90. Right, that's it. Here at Creative Costuming, it all begins with designer sketches, some of which you're going to see in the far wall over there. Then our seamstresses and tailors take over. They use up to 175,000 yards of fabric each and every year to produce over 12,000 garments. Over 180 artists design and manufacture all of the costumes for motion picture, television, and entertainment needs. In the display windows on the left, the costumes worn by two into those comic book criminals of the film, Dick Tracy. Well, the next two areas belong to our camera department. But off to your right, you can see right through it. It's a facade, an empty shell, built for exterior scenes only. In fact, that sign on the front lawn really tells the story. This really is an open house. We use it to film a winter holiday commercial. We put down 50 tons of man-made snow, pine trees, and Christmas lights. Now, 3 of them have moved on to a new show, but this was the home of Betty White, the Arthur, McClanahan, and Stowe Gettys. We talked about them earlier, the Golden Girls. We would film the exterior scenes right out there, then edit them together with the interior scenes made on the soundstage in California, giving you the show you watched about the 4 ladies who lived in Miami. Speaking of Miami, coming up on the right is a new addition to our residential street. It's a neighbor of the Golden Girls at NBC Saturday night. This is the House from Empty Nest. Richard Mulligan, Kristen McNichol, and my favorite again, Stripus the dog. Speaking of dogs, check out that blue house across the street. Look at this, today's tape on the roof. Toys in the yard, flag out front. A family could live there, right? Look over to the left side of that yard over there. In the film, The Rocketeer. Zoomed into theaters last summer, now available on home video. And parked right in front is his GB Super Sportster plane. Never gets off the ground. We use that with miniatures, blue screen, and special effects to make it look like it actually flies. As we turn this corner, everyone look to your right. Raise your right arm and wave when I say action. Here we go. Lights. Camera, action. Everybody wave and look to your right and keep waving because you're going to see me. Keep up, I don't want to lose you either. Well, good, someone's pushing because here they come. I see the guy in the back row pushing. All right. Coming up on the next corner on the right is a production boneyard, much bigger than a motor pool. We store some large-scale props here like that. Sleek black object in the corner is really a jet boat that was used in a Disney production, The 100 Lives of Blackjack Savage. Modeled after the famous SR-71 Blackbird spy plane, it clocked its speeds up to 70 miles an hour, pretty fast for a water vehicle. I like to say it that way, vehicle. Yeah. The helicopter cockpit section of the film Blue Thunder, starring Roy Scheider. And right ahead of this text, you're going to see a tail section of an airplane from a classic film made in 1942, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. That's the tail section of the plane from Casablanca. The front half of that plane you may have seen today already inside the Great Movie Ride. We found the plane in Texas, checked the serial number on it, and it matched the plane that was used in that famous goodbye scene 50 years ago. Casablanca being released this year for that anniversary, by the way. See it at a theater near you in black and white only. Here, who played Roger Rabbit, a classic film, and here comes some props, beginning with those 3 beat-up Plymouth automobiles. Can you guess which one of these cars Roger Rabbit drove to escape Toontown in? Yeah, it's pretty easy, that's it. Never let a tune borrow your car. That'll happen every time. Our trolley car from the same film, but look at the wheels of that trolley car very carefully. They're not real. Those are just fiberglass coverings. Underneath those are rubber tires. That's a bus disguised as a trolley car. All we did was paint the tracks in the street to make it look real. Also on the right, a couple of silver space pods from the 1986 production, Flight of the Navigator. But look beyond those pods and across the canal to get a behind-the-scenes view of those homes on Residential Street. First thing you notice, not a lot of privacy over there, is there? And then architectural details like shingles on the roof stop beyond camera range. We only film what the camera needs to see, but what if the camera needs to see something it just isn't there? What if you had to find an environment you couldn't find here in Central Florida? For instance, where in Central Florida would you find a working oil field? In a rocky, dry, barren desert canyon? Well, you won't find one here, so we built one and we call it Catastrophe Canyon. We'll be experiencing some mild special effects up ahead, so a quick reminder, keep a tight grip on all those personal belongings like cameras, camcorders, purses, small children, and as usual, please remain seated at all times. Thank you. Is that you, Christy? Oh, okay. Hey, Randy. So this set we're going into was modeled after an actual canyon in California. Took 6 months to build. That's a long time for one set, but with all the great effects we get out of it, it was well worth the effort. As a matter of fact, you folks with cameras and camcorders, you might want to wait a minute. It wasn't easy getting it up there. We had to actually hoist that truck over the top of the canyon and lower it into place with a large crane. And of course, they set the parking brake right after that. I hope. Well, anyway, earlier I mentioned something about controlling the weather. But what if your script calls for a downpour? Well, in the movie business, time is money, and you can't always wait around for Mother Nature. When the cameras are ready to roll, we have to have rain ready to fall. We can't wait for a cloudburst to come over. This is our rain right now. There's not much wind today, so you might not get that wet. Now, that rain is caused by high-pressure water spouts, which are located overhead and just out of camera range. To give it that more realistic rainfall effect, we put these large knobs in front of those spouts. What's that? What are you talking about today? Ladies and gentlemen, please don't worry about anything. Everything's under control. They wouldn't shoot a scene with us in here today. I don't think they would. Hey, what? Hey, whoa! All right, I don't think so. Hey! Oh no! Look out for the tank in the top. It's gonna blow! Where's that right now? Woo! Reset of the take. I don't think so. Once is enough for me, and I know it's enough for you. Hey, tell me, everybody, what did you think of that? Well, I gotta tell you something. You know I like it in this place. And you know why I like it in here? Because this seems to be the one place that really brings families and friends closer together. Yeah, they can't get to the right dance enough to get away from that water. Still in the archway to get a picture of a very familiar skyline off in the distance. Yes, your family and friends will think you went to Florida for vacation, but you'll surprise them when you go home and show them a picture of the New York City skyline through the archway, way down the street. You can't miss it. It's not way down the street. It's only a block and a half down. It's an old movie trick known as a forced perspective, like a series of painted billboards. The camper will take a trio. There's an info wheel for Blue Frame Rock Rabbit, and we're rapidly going into the tour. Here are your options. Quickly. First, go down on a backstage plaza. My favorite